Plain and simple. Only number 6 is really scientific. Now, if you observe variations within the created kind, and you say, okay, I think this variation might lead to bigger changes, okay, you're welcome to believe that, but that's where you just stepped out of science and went into your religion. You just went into the metaphysical. You think it might have happened long ago and far away. That's not science. Okay, that's a religion. My position is the evolution theory is not only stupid and an insult to our intelligence, it is dangerous. We are teaching the kids they're an animal, and then we wonder why they act like animals. This textbook says 30 million years ago, these creatures evolved. The earliest fossil apes that can be ancestral to both humans and modern apes. We teach the kids they're nothing but an ape, or an ape derived from the same ancestor as an ape, and then we wonder why they act like animals. You don't need to be a genius to figure this out, folks. What you believe determines how you behave. This textbook says you are an animal and share a common heritage with earthworms. Now, I don't care if somebody wants to believe that, but that's not science. And I resent paying for that to go into the textbook, because that's not science. That's his religion. He believes we have a common ancestor with earthworms. He doesn't know that, okay? And textbooks are jam-packed full of stuff like this, propaganda to get the kids to believe this silly theory. We teach them they're an animal, and they're acting like animals, okay? Go visit the schools, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I taught for 15 years. Kids are being taught there is no such thing as a moral standard. I challenge people all over the world. I ask them the question, if evolution is true, how do we determine right from wrong? If evolution is true, what is sin? I'm telling you, there is no absolute standard to determine right from wrong if evolution is true. You just can't tell. My position is anyone who teaches this false religion and destroys the faith of students is in serious trouble when they face God, because they're destroying their faith. Jesus said very clearly, whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Now, if you want to teach science, then teach science. But if you're going to mix your religion in with it and try to make the kids believe that they came from an ape-like ancestor, you better understand you're destroying somebody's faith, and you're going to face God with this. You're going to be in serious trouble. I'm just here to warn you. I'm the messenger boy. My position is every one of us has broken God's commandments. God created this world and he owns it, and everyone in this room, especially me, has broken God's laws. And we are in serious trouble. Nobody can get to heaven on their own merits. The Bible says, thou art not a God that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. If you have any sin in your life, you cannot go to heaven unless you have been forgiven. And 33 years ago yesterday, I asked the Lord to save me. And I'm going to heaven. It's not at all because I'm good. It's because I have been forgiven. Anyone who repents and asks for God's forgiveness shall be saved. And that's what I recommend everybody do. My position is very simple. Many people believe in evolution because they do not want to accept responsibility for answering to a creator. There's no scientific reason to accept this theory. But some people really like that theory because that's a logical way to get freedom from God. We're warned about this in Romans chapter 1, about people who would accept this theory. It says, even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient. You ought to read the whole chapter about how the people descend into depravity because they're just looking for some way to get rid of God. They're going to be backbiters, haters of God, who, knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. The Bible says, for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. Evolution, at least the first 5 stages I shared with you, are indeed a lie, in my opinion. There is no evidence to support evolution except things that are proven to be lies. This textbook just clearly shows the kids that the mammals, the birds, the crocodiles all have a common ancestor. Well, you are welcome to believe that, but don't call that science. That's a religion that some people believe in, but there's no scientific evidence that any animal has ever produced a different kind of animal. None, okay? This one says the coccyx, that's your tailbone, is a small bone at the end of the human vertebral column. It has no present function. That is simply a lie. You're a medical doctor. You know there are 9 muscles that attach to the tailbone, without which you cannot perform some very valuable functions. I won't tell you what they all are, but trust me, you need those muscles. Your tailbone is not vestigial, okay? And I have a long-time standing offer. If anybody ever tells you the tailbone is evidence for evolution because we don't need it anymore, you tell them, I will pay to have theirs removed. Tell them, bend over. This textbook says many organisms retain traces of their evolutionary history. For example, the whale retains pelvic and leg bones as useless vestiges. Now, this is just simply a lie, okay? Those bones in the whale's abdomen are anchor points that muscles attach to, and without those specialized bones and those specialized muscles, the whales cannot reproduce. The male and female bones, whales have bones that are different. They're used for reproduction. It has nothing to do with walking on land, and so the guy who wrote this is either ignorant or he's lying to his students. But it's not true either way, okay? This one says the human embryo has gill slits. It shows the fish, the reptile, the bird, and the mammal having gills. This was proven wrong in 1874. This is a lie. This is not true, but it is still in a year 2000 textbook. Those little folds of skin on the embryo develop into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. They never have anything to do with breathing. I've seen folks that have 5 or 6 chins, and they cannot breathe through any of them but the top one, okay? My position is there is no scientific evidence to support the idea that we all came from a rock 4.6 billion years ago, which is precisely what evolution boils down to if you get rid of all the big words and the fluff and the feathers, okay? All evidence shown to kids in textbooks as evidence for evolution has been proven wrong. Gill slits, horse evolution, etc. Your kids are being lied to. My position is if there is evidence for a theory, please show it to me. Just don't lie to the kids. There's an excellent book showing 15 of the known lies in the textbooks. I cover 28 of them on my videotape number 4 right there on the table, and my material is not copyrighted. So you skeptics, if you want to buy my tapes, you can copy it, send it back, get your money back. Hey, but don't ask me to loan it to you, okay? That's my position. All right. My position is the citizens of Arkansas should pass and enforce legislation banning lies from textbooks and lying teachers from the classroom. Teachers who lie to students in order to get them to believe a theory should be fired immediately. They should get an honest job. These 6 things doth the Lord hate: a lying tongue. It's one of the things God hates, okay? The Bible says all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, which burneth with fire and brimstone. This is the second death. So my position is very simple. I like science. I'm not against science. I'm not against education. My mother retired from teaching public school. My brother's in his 34th year teaching school. There are many good, godly teachers in the system. But folks, there is no evidence whatsoever for this theory of evolution that we're teaching our kids, and it's time we make the schools teach the truth. Now, if you want them to believe you came from a rock, I can understand that, okay? And if you have some evidence for that, then please show it to me. But don't lie to the kids. And all we have so far, and I'll be covering that tonight at the church, or if you get my video number 4, where we cover 2.5 hours of lies in the textbooks, you'll see some of the things that kids have to face every day, and they're going to face them tomorrow at the University of Central Arkansas in the textbooks. Bring me the biology textbooks in your high school or junior high or college here in this area. I will show you the pages that need to be torn out. It's very simple. I was in a debate a few months ago at the University of West Florida, and I mentioned if the textbook says the embryo has gill slits, cut the page out. It's not true. You don't need to buy a whole new book. The rest of the book's got a lot of good science in it. Just cut that page out. One professor got up and he said, I don't think we ought to deface textbooks. I said, sir, if you were teaching mathematics and you found a page that said 2 + 2 is 5, what would you do? He said, I would tell the students to mark out the wrong answer and write in the correct answer. I said, you would deface a textbook? I said, now, sir, since you teach biology, if you come across the page that says the embryo has gill slits, and you know that idea was made up by Ernst Haeckel in 1869, it was proven wrong in 1874. He even held a trial at the University of Jena. He admitted he lied. He was fraud, okay? Would you have the students fix that page? He said, no. I said, then, sir, you are a hypocrite. And you ought to get an honest job picking peaches or changing tires, but you ought to quit lying to your kids in your classroom, okay? Jim Holt from Spring